Hi, and welcome to Craft Along with Jay. I am so happy you can join me today. Today I'm partaking in the Just Our Imagination Challenge, and the hosts are Rustic and Lay's DIY and Kathy Joe DIYs, and the co-host is OK at Home DIY. And don't forget, when you're done with this video, head down to my description box and check out the playlist. There's a lot of fun, creative DIYs you don't want to miss out on. And today we're using a tin can, wire hanger, and a metal paper towel holder. And as you can see, I've cut down my paper towel holders, and that's my hanger and my tin can. And these are the pieces I'll be crafting with today. The first thing I do, I take four of these um, things from the paper towel holder, apply Mod Podge on them, and while that's drying, I'm gonna cut this tin can. And friends, the struggle was real cutting this thing. It took me forever to do it, but I got it done. But yeah, it was a struggle, all right. But eventually I use a little bit more than two cans, one can for this project, like a can and a couple of pieces from a second can. And here I'm trying to flatten it out as much as I can, and then I draw little leaves on it that I'm gonna cut out. And I'm just using the wavy part of the can because I wanted my leaves to have a little dimension on them. And I'm gonna altogether I'll cut out six. So I get four out of this can and I get two out of a second can. And I was trying hard not to cut myself on the edges. They are quite sharp as I'm cutting these. And I just keep drawing and cutting until I have six total. So here we go. I got all six of them. And then I just hot glue the edges. Just initially it was for protection for my fingers, so I wouldn't cutting myself as I'm handling them. But it stayed on. It didn't come off. So I left them on and it kind of gave it a little extra to my leaf. So it actually turned out really well. And here I'm going to use some Kelly green paint and paint my leaves. I'm giving them a two coats before I realized that I didn't put Mod Podge on first. So after the two coats, I gave it a coat of Mod Podge and then I gave it one mud coat. And then they kind of turned out the way I wanted them to turn out. And it could be the Mod Podge kept the hot glue on the edges in place. I don't know, but it worked out really well. Then I'm taking this flower wood cutout and I'm just tracing it on some fabric, and I'm tracing and cutting out six flowers. And I'm just kind of making the lines down, the petals a little bit longer. And I use the top of a paint bottle to see the round circle that I'm going to use in the middle just to kind of get the placement of everything right. You'll see here in a minute. I'm not going to have you watch me cut out all six of them. I think. Yeah, we should be moving on here shortly. Okay, and now I got them cut out, and now I'm gonna struggle with this wire hanger. That wasn't easy to cut either. And I'm just kind of measuring on my petals, and then I'm gonna start bending them, which I had to use several tools to get them bent just right for the petals of my flowers. So we're using all three items in this project: the paper towel holder, the wire hanger, and the tin can. So here I have it bent so it fit one petal, and I'm going to go around and do that to all the petals. And this will kind of help my flowers stiffen up so they can sit up straight without falling over, if that makes sense. And then once I have them out, I'm going to use some tacky glue and glue the wire hanger pieces down. And then I take another piece of fabric and put the two right sides of the fabric on the outside and the two inside pieces of the fabric together on the inside, if that makes sense. You'll see here what I'm doing. Yeah, thinking about the placement. And then I'm using some more tacky glue to go around each petal so I can put the top layer on and it will hold its shape, hold it together. So that's why I had cut out 6 pieces of each because that will make 3 flowers. Yep, just like that. Then we cover up that wire hanger that's in there, but it'll help my little petals to be stiff and can stand up straight. Then the next thing I do, I cut another piece of the wire hanger and make a circle to put in the middle of my little flower. And I'm using tools. Those wire hangers were quite difficult to bend. It's funny because they bend easily when you hang clothes on them, but when you want to use it for something, it's not happening. Took me a while to get it, and then imagine I had to make 3 of them. So yeah, the struggle was real for a while there, but the end result is just worth all the trouble. So we just keep on bending till I have the shape that I want. Yeah, and I'm using the top of that paint bottle to get the size that I need. And then I make 3 of these flowers. So I'm just kind of showing you the first one here. Then I'm going to glue that little ring into the middle of my flower. Still using some of the Aleene's Tacky Glue. And that goes right in the middle. Then I'm holding up to make sure it's stiff, and it is. So that worked out well. And now I got some little terracotta pots and I put some floral foam in there. And then I'm going to take the little paper towel holder pieces that I painted green, um, put them in the flower pots. That's what I did after I put Mod Podge. I painted them green, that Kelly green. And then once I have them in there, I just add some hot glue to the bottom and put some Spanish moss in there just to kind of cover that up. And I do that to all 3 of them. And then I'm going to glue my flowers onto them. Just a little strip of glue down the middle and then onto my stem. And look at my leaves. These leaves had me cracking up. The more I looked at them when I was sitting next to me drying, the more I started laughing. Don't they look like rippled potato chips? Look at them. It had me cracking up so bad. But anyway, I think they're darling. And here I got my little flowers on. You see how they're stiffened up so the wires on the inside helped. And then I'm gonna glue on my little leaves, my potato chip leaves. And I let this dry and then I add the other leaves to the other side. So here they are. Kind of distressed the pots and put a little bow on them. Let me know what you think about this one. For project number 2, I used the tin can, some of the wire hanger, and then these 2 pieces that came off of the bottom of the paper towel holder, then some white paint, a napkin, and Mod Podge. And I'll show you where I got those little pieces from on the bottom of the paper towel holder. So yep, they came straight from there. I had 2 paper towel holders and I cut them off on each part. The first thing I do is cover my tin can with Mod Podge. And then I painted it white. And if you can look close, I'm trying to show you, there's some crackle in it that kind of happened on its own, which I just totally love. It kind of adds some age to my can, kind of give it more of a rustic farmhousey look, and that's exactly what I wanted. We'll distress it some more, but I just love this. And then my napkin, I'm just using the bottom part that I've kind of ripped off, kind of wet around it and then ripped off where it was wet. And then I'm just adding some Mod Podge to my can. And then I'm going to start in sections laying down my napkin on it. So we start at the side, just a little bit, and then I keep going. I'm not worried about wrinkles or anything. It just adds to the weathered charm look. So I wasn't too concerned about that. And the little wavy things in the can is going to have it looking like that anyway. But it turned out beautifully. I love it. Just keep on going till you get all the way to the other side. And I'm just giving the whole can some Mod Podge while I'm at it, just to kind of seal it in. Make sure nothing is chipping off. So I just keep going around, and when I get there, I just kind of cut, and then I'll just lay it down so it's going all the way around. And then once it's dry, I'm going to give it um, a coat of Mod Podge on top of the napkin to seal that in as well. And here I'm working on this wire hanger again. Took some work, but there it is. And then I'm kind of gonna measure. I'm gonna make a bucket handle out of it. At least try to. And I just kind of use my little tools here to bend it into the shape as well as I was able to. And then those little metal half circles that I got off the paper towel holder, I'm going to glue that to each side of my can as a little handle to attach my wire hanger to. Am I even making sense? Just watch, you'll see. I'm using some tacky glue and I'm letting it sit. And it kind of worked, it kind of didn't work. So I'm adding some towards the end. I'm adding some Gorilla Glue hot glue as well, just for extra stability, and that really worked. It's on there tight now. And I'm just making sure I'm getting my wire hanger into the loop before I glue it on, because I made those little loops at the end of the wire hanger. So I just have to slide it in. And then I take 3 little beads to put it on my little handle as well. Yeah, I was kind of struggling here too. That wire hanger was no joke. But I had so much fun doing this. This was fun, being very creative. And I'm kind of gluing in with Eileen's tacky glue as well and just clamp them up and let it sit for a while. Yeah, and here's where I go over the fan brush. I just very lightly go over my napkin with just very little Mod Podge. You don't use a whole lot. You don't want to rip the napkin. But this is sealing it in. My hand a little messed up, but I guess it goes for the look of being old and worn and used. And here's when I kind of realized I probably need to reinforce my little metal pieces with some Gorilla Hot Glue, which is what I'm doing right here. Making sure they're not coming off. And then I'd start distressing um, the the bucket and the can bucket and the beads with some Waverly antique wax. And then I just put some pretty flowers in there, and that's it for this one. Let me know what you think about this one as well. And then for this next project, I'm going to use the bottom part Well, what's left over my tin can, the bottom part of my paper towel holder, a bamboo cutting board from the Dollar Tree, and some fabric from the Dollar Tree as well, and part of my hanger. So I've been able to use all three items in all three projects. So I'm pretty psyched about that. So I got my um, bottom part of my paper towel lined up so I can measure out the piece I need from my tin can. And then I'm just cutting accordingly. Struggling with this tin can again. Kind of measuring, making sure I'm getting the right size. And then kind of protecting the edges against my fingers here because I will cut myself if I don't. That's a given. So, but it didn't last long because as I'm stop bending it here, the hot glue kind of falls off anyway. So I was just working very carefully, kind of bending it so I can kind of fit in between the space um, of my paper towel pieces. And then because it goes over that rounded part right there, I had to cut some slits up my tin can to make it fit down over it, if that makes sense. So I'm shaping it up so it's not laying flat. I'm trying to troubleshoot here how I'm going to do this, thinking about it. I'm still kind of molding it, give it some 3D look to it. So I'm kind of measuring where I need to cut the slits so that way it can go down over that rounded part and get flush with the table. Then kind of bend them inwards and then it will fit down over it like that. And then back to this wire hanger. I just need to cut two small pieces. Can you tell what I'm making yet? And then I'm gonna bend the very tip kind of round some. So I'm trying to figure it out because I just need to round it up a little bit, not like a whole lot. And it's just the very tip of it. So we just keep on bending. It was it was a tough job, but I got it done. Then I'm just kind of figuring out the placement and how it looks. So now you can probably guess I'm making a butterfly. So this is the body part of it. And then I'm putting some Mod Podge on my metal pieces. And also my little antennas, because we will paint them a little later. And then also the body of my caterpillar. And then I decided to just give it a whitewash my board. I like the wood, it's kind of showing through, but I just wanted a little bit lighter, so I just add some white paint and kind of wipe it off and rub it in just to lighten it up some. And then I'm going to paint the body of my caterpillar. I believe it's Java brown. And I'll paint my antennas that color as well. And then the wings of my butterflies will be pretty sure it's white. Just giving it a good coat of paint. And then let that dry. That's the white part. I'm not doing the bottom part of it because you won't be able to see that, just the top part of my wings. Or the outline of my wings, I should say. And once that is dry, I'm going to take out my fabric and I'm going to measure out pieces to go on my wings. Kind of keeping my my fabric kind of on the more of the neutral colors. I want it to be like rustic farmhouse with a dash of primitive in there. So I'm trying to keep it as neutral as I can, um, and using all the natural materials. So here I'm cutting it out. So I'm cutting out two pieces, of course. And there they are. And now I'm going to figure out the placements and how to put it all together on my board, making sure the paint is dry. Then I'm just kind of laying it down on my fabric, just try to figure out um, how to glue it on. But I decided just to take the metal piece off and put some tacky glue on it and then put the fabric onto that. And I'll put my fabric face down on top of the paint. Yep, just like that. And I do the same thing to the other wing. Now I'm going to figure out how to place it all together. Yep, and there goes the body. And then my antennas, I think. I'm kind of thinking about what's going on here because I'm like, in my head, I had it all down, but when I was working with it, I was sort of like, I had to add some pieces just to make it look just right. But I got two half beads, I painted them Java, and I put one on each end of my caterpillar and glued the antennas on. But I didn't like the space in between the body and the wings, so I was trying to figure that part out. So I'd take some of my thicker, is it nautical rope, jute twine, the thick kind that you get from the Dollar Tree, and I go around my wings with that. And I really like that. That just worked out perfect. I'm just hot gluing that down. Just the wings. I don't cover the whole middle part because I still need my body to fit in there. And I didn't want it to go on top of my metal part because I wanted that white outline to be seen. So here I'm going around the other side. And let's just line it up at the bottom. Yep. And then the body fits in there perfectly. It couldn't be any better. And I've kind of taken the bottom part of my caterpillar and the head off, and I used different size beads instead. I think that worked out much better. Kind of play along with it or with it, playing with your pieces till you get the look that just works for you. And then once I get that in there, I'll glue my little antennas back on. Making sure it's in there nice and snug. And here comes the little antennas. And I think this is it for this one. Oh no, I'm doing some touch up because some of the paint I kind of scraped off as I was working with it on the body. So just doing a little touch up on the body and his head. And then that will be it for this one. Let me know what you think about this one as well. There we go. And here's the final view of all of them. I'm really happy with how they turned out using those pieces. Let me know what you think down in the comments section down below. And don't forget to check out the playlist that's in my description box. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time.